ICE Institute and Asian Development Bank webinar series. Before we start, please kindly listen and follow the list Indonesian national anthems, Indonesia Raya, and followed by the Universitas Terbuka profile. Our apology because the screen sharing was have a trouble. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is very grateful today that UT and Asian Development Bank webinar course and job alignment that will be delivered by Gary Khan, the co-founder of the JobKred, and he is currently the ADB Technical Assistant for the ICE Institute. Today's webinar is convened by Dr. Lidwina. And without further ado, I invite Dr. Lidwina to convene the sessions.
Thank you very much, Prof. Daryono from ICE Institute Universitas Terbuka for this opportunity. Well, dear attendees, good morning from the southern part of Jakarta, Indonesia. Welcome to the third ADB webinar series on blockchain technology for higher education. This virtual event is conducted by Indonesia Cyber Education Institute, or ICE Indonesia Institute of Universitas Terbuka Indonesia, supported by the Asian Development Bank, Higher Level Technology Fund, grant from the government of Japan. I hope we are all safe and healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic and ready to join and participate in the valuable discussion. I'm Wina from the Faculty of Teacher Training and Education of Universitas Terbuka will be the convener of this webinar. The topic of our webinar this morning is course and job demand alignment. This topic is considered important in an era where the enormous growth of the digital economy has a major impact on business and changes the need for talent across industries. The distinguished speaker, Gary Gunn from JobKred, has been with us and is ready to share his knowledge and experiences related to today's discussion topic. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, everyone. Hello.
Very nice to see you. Okay. Here with us also the Rector of Universitas Terbuka, Professor Ojat Darojat, M.Bus Ph.D, who will deliver an opening remark. Good morning, Prof. Ojat.
Good morning, Lidwina. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, we are pleased to inform you that there are more than 560 participants from different affiliations and even from other countries have registered and ready to join us today. Where dear attendees, we should be grateful that this event is also supported by the Rector of Universitas Terbuka, Professor Ojat Darojat M.Bus Ph.D. And this morning, Prof. Ojat Darojat has invested his time to deliver an opening remark. Prof. Ojat, please welcome, and time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good morning, everyone. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Yes, to our speaker from JobKred, Mr. Gary Gunn, the Convener, Dr. Lidwina, I call it here as Mbak from Terbuka, and Prof. Daryono, my colleague, and all participants. I would like to express my warmest gratitude for attending this webinar. Of course, it is my great pleasure and privilege to welcome you to the third webinar series on blockchain technology for higher education organized by Indonesia Cyber Education Institute or ICE Institute, Universitas Terbuka, and Asian Development Bank, OEDB, on the topic of cost and job demand alignment. Everyone, attendance. As we know that the enormous economic growth has had a huge impact on business and change the talent needs across industries. Therefore, higher education has a crucial role in supplying skilled candidates that are needed in the workforce. Moreover, rapidly evolving skill needs raise challenges for labor market and contributing to skill mismatch and shortages. Skill needs are changing as a result of the digital transformations, globalizations, climate mitigations, and demographic changes. So in most countries, including our country, Indonesia, skill shortage coexists with large number of universities graduates facing difficulties in finding job opportunities, matching their qualifications. Then what could be the solution for these situations? I think Universitas Terbuka as a higher education institution has to be able to align the skills that graduates have with market demand to ensure we are creating future employees that are industry ready, knowledgeable, and adaptable. Since a high skill mismatch and skill shortage can have adverse economic consequences for individuals, workplace, and the economy as a whole. And for our webinar today, as already mentioned by Prof. Daryono and Ibu Wina, that we are inviting Mr. Gary, co-founder of JobKred, who will be explaining about the use of something like artificial intelligence, big data, data mining to understand the evolving industry skill demand. So enjoy the webinar, and I'm sure this will give us new ideas and knowledge. And thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Ojat, for the opening remark. Before I go on, let me remind you all that there are two channels available to join this event. You can join us either via Zoom at sl.ut.ac.id/webinar-ut-adb3. Or if you cannot join us via Zoom, you can watch this event on YouTube at sl.ut.ac.id/webinar-uttv2020. So please remind and invite your colleagues to join us. At the end of the event, we will share a link for feedback. Dear attendees, now we have come to the presentation. Let me invite our expert speaker, Gary Gunn, who is ready to deliver his ideas and sharing his experiences in course and job demand alignment. So once again, how are you, Gary?
Great. Hello, everyone. Morning.
Okay, good. You are in Singapore at this moment, right?
Yes, I'm in Singapore.
Okay, that's great. That the technology has enabled us to see you there very clearly. Yes. And thank you and welcome to the third ICE Institute webinar series. So Gary, before you deliver your presentation, as usual, please allow me to read the introduction first. Okay, here's the CV. Okay, while we're waiting for the CV display, I will read Gary's CV. So Gary Gunn is well known as the co-founder of JobKred and currently the Chief Executive Officer, CEO of JobKred. And what is JobKred? It is a Singapore-based workforce transformation platform that uses artificial intelligence or AI and data science to understand the evolving industry skills demand and guides people to close their skills gaps and navigate the future of work. Okay. I will go on. Okay. JobKred is powering Singapore's national jobs and skills training portals. This is amazing that JobKred works with universities on digital career guidance and adaptive curriculum projects, and also support enterprises from SME, small and medium-sized enterprises, to Fortune 500 companies in transforming their workforce to be future ready. Gary has worked as a consultant to key development agencies and presented artificial intelligence and the future of work in key forums such as Asian Development Bank Skills Forum 2017, World Bank Annual Meeting 2018, and PASCT Forum 2019, UNESCO Artificial Intelligence and Education Forum 2019, and NTUC's Shaping Careers and Channel News Asia Singapore Tonight. Wow, well, this is only a small part of our expert speaker CV being shared with us. But beyond this, we should be grateful for having Gary with us, that we can learn many things from his knowledge and experiences in preparing our young generations facing competitive job opportunities in the future. So attendees, since the topic today is very interesting and we can explore ways on how to align learning programs or courses with in-demand employers' competencies, I hope you stay tuned. And I invite you to explore this topic of discussion and raise your questions and comments later in the chat box available on Zoom or YouTube. So Gary, are you ready?
Yes, no problem.
Okay, you will deliver your presentation in about 30 minutes and directly followed by a question and answer session that will take around 30 minutes as well. Okay, Gary, we look forward to a great presentation from you. Time is yours.
All right, thank you, everyone. So I'm going to share screen. Okay, I hope everyone can see the presentation. If there's any issues, let me know. So, morning, everyone. Great to see everyone today. I'm calling in from Singapore. And it's amazing that, from so far away, we can have a quick conversation like what we are doing today and sharing knowledge. So I'm really, really looking forward to the presentation. I hope to be able to share with you guys about the current ways that AI and big data is used in careers and skills matching, but also to share practical examples and case studies, because it's not just a technology that is being developed, it is already being used in the market today in different countries around the world. So most of my examples will be from Singapore because that's where I'm from and we have a lot of interesting examples. But during the Q&A, I can also answer any questions about international use of big data and AI in careers and skills matching. So without further ado, let me carry on with my presentation. So, okay. So looking at the big picture here, I think this is something that most educators may need to be aware of. In the start of the decade, in 2010, 2012, there are a lot of educators that believe that their graduates are ready for work, but a lot of students and employers may not agree that much. So over the last 10 years, all the way to 2020, 2019, 2020, right? The problem still exists where a lot of people are saying they don't have the skills to do well at work. And by 2030, the next decade, you're going to still see a lot of youths who lack the skills to participate in the workforce. And what is the reason for this, right? Is it because the schools are not doing their job? No, they are working very hard. Everyone's working very hard. The challenge is because the world of work is changing too fast. The skills needed by industry is changing too fast for people to catch up. So this is the kind of ecosystem now where, let's say companies, they have new requirements. Let's say they want to do blockchain. The companies wants to do AI. They want to do image recognition. They want to digitize. The problem is that this data to understand what the companies need takes a long time to collect. Typically, people will use surveys, focus groups. They'll talk to the companies. It can take probably 4 years to be able to understand what the skills that the industry needs. Then after that, it takes maybe 4 years for the curriculum to be developed, right? You need to make sure that your universities are able to produce the skills curriculum and the skills training that the industry needs. That's going to take another 4 years as well. And after that, you have 4 years of more training, right? Probably from diploma to degree and onwards. So you end up with 12 years at least of time before you can train someone with the skill that the industry needs today. So you think about it, the industry needs a skill today, but you can only produce a graduate 12 years later. So that is the whole disconnect between what the industry needs and what the market can provide. And that is the big problem because, all this is slow and separate sort of work to get the trained students and the trained workers out. So the current methods, okay, sorry, let me move this image. It's blocking me. Give me a minute, sorry. Okay, so the current methods of skills demand assessment. A lot of countries may be doing this, your country may be doing this as well, and there's nothing wrong. This is the current way of doing it, where you can actually use direct industry consultation. So you talk to industry leaders, you talk to CEOs, you talk to HR, you talk to recruiters, and you understand what skills they need. And that's no problem, right? If I'm not wrong, some universities are already creating industry committees, industry feedback committees, where they're talking to the industry directly about what skills they need. So that's fine. The challenge is that it takes a lot of time, and the number of people you can talk to isn't that many as well. So it ends up that you talk to one HR who's representing a big company like M.Bus, for example, and you assume that the same skills are needed for every other company in the same industry, because you can't talk to so many people. So it ends up a little bit less accurate, but well, it still does work to get you some information. And the problem is that, again, it's subjective, where only the HR or the CEO of the company will tell you what they're looking for now. So that's one of the ways that's being done. Second is people also use surveys and focus groups to interview all the different CEOs and the industry people as well, what skills they need. Again, it takes time, and it's kind of outdated pretty quickly as well, because it takes 2-3 years to do this survey, and then within that time, the industry has changed. Last one is that some countries also use skills frameworks. Singapore has a Singapore skills framework, Australia has it, US and Europe has skills frameworks as well. You can refer to them, and skills frameworks are created by the country based on surveys and industry consultation, and they create a kind of a roadmap for the country's skills development. That works very well as well. But again, it becomes outdated pretty quickly, and it takes time and money to build this. So I think there are new ways to do this kind of understanding of skills demand. So what is possible nowadays is actually to use technology to really understand the skills demand. So for example, you can actually use big data analytics to understand employer demand and even do some prediction of your future skills requirements. You can even apply this to the individual learner. You can apply this to the individual student or the individual worker to understand their current skills, understand what careers and skills are trending, and then apply an intelligent analysis of the skills gap, and then personalize the career guidance for them. Because one of the biggest problems for individuals is that they don't know what is the world out there, what sort of jobs are out there, what sort of careers are out there, and they need guidance. So having a system can help them to do digital career guidance. And the last new innovation is that there is a new trend of automatically mapping curriculum to skills that the industry needs and making it modular rather than a very comprehensive 4-year degree with very structured sort of training. Sometimes there can be modular training that is changing according to the needs of the industry. So this is now becoming more possible with technology. So I think using an AI-based approach is really about creating something that can make it faster and more agile rather than a traditional linear method on the left. So the traditional linear method works as well, but it takes a long time. As I showed in the first screen, it can take maybe 10, 12 years or more before you get a trained worker that's needed today. So what is possible with technology now is that you can start to work towards an adaptive learning ecosystem where you do many things at the same time on a digital platform to understand the future of, to understand the skills that the market needs and understand the skills of the student or worker, and then matching the learning based on skills gaps. So this is possible with technology nowadays, and I'll show you examples later of where it's being done around the world. So let me share a little bit about how the AI in understanding jobs and skills comes about. So this is actually our company's technology. So this is what we have done ourselves. Other people may do differently, but for us, what we do is data mining. So we crawl labor market information, like from job boards, resume sites, company websites, government websites as well. And from that, we get job descriptions and we get resumes. So this information helps us to understand what is the world of work. So let's say companies post new job postings tomorrow, right? We will be able to pick it up and see, oh, these companies are now looking for different new types of skills. So that becomes data mining that we can collect. With the data, then we do data cleansing and relational extraction to make sense of the data, because the data is now messy, it's unstructured. It may not even be in a single language. So we need to clean up the data. And then from there, we're able to make sense of the data to say that, oh, the word Python actually means a programming language. It doesn't mean a snake or an insect or animal, for example. So we must be able to do that sort of clustering and statistical analysis. And the last one is that with the trends or over years or collecting millions of data points over years, we can do some sort of machine learning and prediction to really understand what is the future and make some trends. So this is how big data is applied to the need, the use case of understanding labor market information to understand the skills and jobs of the future. So this is just an example of some of the things that we do. So we are crawling labor market information and getting millions and millions of job advertisements from different websites. And then we're able to clean it and label it and create some sort of sense of the data and put that into a system which can deliver information like time series insights, etc. So I'm going to share a real case study of a project that we did with, I think, UNESCO and ADB for labor market information research in Myanmar. So in Myanmar, we actually worked with a job portal in Myanmar called JobNet, and we got the data from them about their past 5 years of job posting information. So with that data, we were able to do data cleansing and data analysis. The main thing that we are able to offer is speed. So within a matter of a few weeks, rather than a few months or even a few years, we were able to get the data analyzed. So that gives the country a very quick and effective real-time snapshot of what are the skills and jobs demand currently. So let me share some examples of the data we collected. So this is actually some data from different projects we've done before. This may not be from Myanmar. So this is, I think, Bangladesh, yes. So this was a project we did with ADB in Bangladesh. So you can see that we were able to actually look at the IT demand for Bangladesh very quickly to find the top 20 job titles. We have all the details of what is the most popular job title all the way down to the top, to the bottom 20. We were able to see the top 20 skills as well. So skills across all the different jobs in Bangladesh for the IT sector, we were able to very quickly see that and put that down for research purposes. we were able to see the top skills for specific job titles as well. So for example, for the most popular job of software engineer in Bangladesh, we were able to see what are the top 10 skills that the industry is looking for. And even for web developer and iOS developer as well. So what is the use of this? This information helps the educators to be able to understand what the industry is looking for and potentially develop curriculum to suit the needs of the industry. And while you notice that because this is IT, so a lot of the skills are very technical skills, but you can notice there are some non-technical skills as well. So for example, on the right-hand side, iOS developer, skill number 8. The industry is actually looking for people who are always willing to learn, basically ability to learn quickly. And what is the reason for this? Sometimes for certain emerging technology, like iOS, for example, where the skills needs are still changing very fast, sometimes you need a person who is able to learn new technologies quickly as well, rather than an established kind of experienced person. So these are just some nuances of the data that's able to affect the curriculum. So maybe for certain software development roles for iOS, you may want to have a little bit more soft skill training as well to help the person learn how to learn faster, for example. So you can even see from the data that we were able to understand job title changes over the years as well. So you can see from 2017 to 2019, the changes in the skills, the changes in the demand for the different type of job titles, right, over the years. And that again helps you to allocate the type of training as well as the type of curriculum and even the number of openings for courses within your universities. So of course, not just job titles, we can analyze how skills have changed over the years as well. So all this information was able to be collected and analyzed and processed in a matter of a few weeks. So that was really about the speed and granularity of the data. So this is kind of what we start to see as the workforce transformation value chain. So as you can see on the left-hand side, we have started to show some examples of where labor market information, skills demand research can be carried out. And normally after that, companies or countries will start to do skills framework development. So with the labor market information research, countries can start to develop skills frameworks for different industries. Then your education training providers can do curriculum changes to adapt to the needs of the industry. And next, you need to do teacher training as well. You need to make sure your teachers are able to train the advanced skills that the industry needs. And after that, you need to provide career guidance to your students and to your prospective students and also to your current workers. So the current people who are working in the industry, who are not undergraduates who have already graduated, they also need to do skills development. They also need to learn the latest skills. So they also need to have career guidance and career development because they don't know what is the market needing, right? And finally, then of course, at the bottom, you have employment and about the current workers to help transform the current workforce as well. So I think this whole value chain is a clear process to help countries and to help the individual workers to be ready for the future. So going down to the bullet points at the bottom, I think I just want to emphasize that it is really, really essential to quickly match skills supply to skills demand. As you can see from the newspaper articles that were shared previously, the need for skilled workers is always there. It's always increasing, and the gap is still always existing and even getting bigger and bigger. So it's more important than ever when the needs of industry is changing fast that we make sure that the skills supply, the students, the workers have the skills that industry needs. And now AI can actually learn from real-time labor market information to recommend careers, recommend trainings, recommend jobs, to be able to pass information to educators about the needs of the industry in a very quick and efficient manner. I'm going to show later existing case studies of how such technology is being used as well, right, in both developing and developed nations. So a lot of countries who are in Southeast Asia, when I work with them, they always ask me, oh, these examples you're showing are all from Singapore, are from Europe, you know, they are very technologically advanced countries. Can we use it being a developing country? And the answer is yes, because this is built for mass usage. And we have actually, as JobKred, deployed our systems for countries like Bhutan, for countries like Malaysia, all sorts of different countries like Africa, Nigeria, and they are all able to use it. So I think the question about can our country use such AI technology is definitely a big yes. You can definitely start to explore that. So next, let me share some real examples of how AI technology is being used in jobs and skills sort of context now. So I think it's quite clear that there needs to be a career development process or even platform and portal to help the individual workers and to help the individual students to make sure that they have the skills ready for the future. So these are some examples of where AI technology is used in different categories. So in the first category, you can see self-awareness and direction. So it's important to provide a guided experience for the individual student to help them understand what is the job market, what sort of jobs are trending. Should I become a software engineer? Should I become a marketer? Should I become a graphics designer, for example? And what are the career possibilities there? So this requires digital career guidance, but it must be based on job market intelligence, right? It must be real time. It must be looking at the latest changes. So if suddenly we notice from the data that data scientist is a very, very key role that everyone is looking for, this information should be pumped back immediately to the students who are currently studying or thinking about what degree to take, and informs them to pick up the right training. So this also can help in your curriculum development as well. So being able to understand, to provide self-awareness and direction for students is one of the use cases of AI. Second, it is common to nowadays have AI to help in employment as well. So there are a lot of systems now, and I'll show you examples later, where AI is used to match current workers, whether you're a fresh graduated student or whether you're an experienced worker, to job openings, right? Using AI to do job matching. So that helps the worker to see possibilities and see jobs that he or she didn't know were suitable for them. So that helps them to get a job. I'll skip the community interaction, but AI is also sometimes used to match people to community and mentors, like LinkedIn, for example. And the last one is closest to you guys, where with AI, you can actually create a system that is dynamic and easy to immediately understand skills gaps of individuals, like a student or like a current worker, and then make personalized course recommendations to them. And that helps them to close their skills gaps faster, rather than depending on a static, sort of process. So what I'm going to do next is show you some real examples of that. So before I go on further, this is kind of the architecture of a typical sort of career development and guidance platform. So for the users, they connect to a web or mobile application, and then this system normally goes to refer to three areas. They refer to a data layer, intelligence layer, and content layer. So the data layer on the bottom left basically is the skills information from the rest of the world, and including the skills of the individual as well. So knowing the skills of the rest of the world as well as individual, then you can actually quantify and understand what are the skills needed by industry and what does the person actually have. Second, with that information, you can use that to create an intelligence to do recommendations. So you can have an AI that recommends training, recommends jobs, recommend career pathway, recommend mentors to talk to. And this is based on the data layer. It's based on the data of the individual as well as data of the labor market, right? And on the right-hand side, you can have your content layer. So with the recommendations made by the system, we can pick up the information about what courses are available, what sort of training content is out there, or training data is out there, and push it to the user. So this is kind of the architecture of most systems that do a career and skills recommendation or training recommendation. So the ideal user journey should be something like this, where you have a student who goes through the system, is able to do skills gap assessments, and then go through personalized course recommendations and pick up courses, pick up skills gains, show that in the system, and then the system will take that new skills gain into account and make new recommendations. So that kind of becomes a long-term user journey that helps them to keep their skills continuously relevant to the industry today. So these are some real examples. You can look for the websites later on, but essentially, these are some examples of what JobKred has done with different clients in Singapore, but also, systems that are common across Singapore as well. So on the left-hand side, we have done a lot of labor market information research in different countries with the global NGOs, and we're working on this with the ICE project as well. So the second column is basically Singapore's national jobs portal, so called mycareersfuture.sg. So this already incorporates modern AI technology to do career recommendation, skills gap analysis, job recommendations, and it's doing very well with 200,000 weekly users. So we provide this technology to a university in Singapore called NTU. So we provide digital career and skills guidance. So this helps the students to understand what jobs are out there in the market, what careers are suitable for them. It gives them an AI engine to guide them to pick up their right career direction and then to match them to potential careers. So we have a lot of data from students that are very happy with the guidance, and it helps them to understand themselves as well as understand what sort of jobs they should go into after they graduate. And finally, we also help the civil service. We help employers. So we are doing workforce transformation for the Inland Revenue Authority of Singapore, where we help their workers to transform themselves, to understand their skills gaps. We help the agency to understand how they want to transform their company as well. And we connect all these workers to training providers in Singapore. So if your university is interested to provide training for adult education, you can use such a system to work with the industry to understand their needs and push the right training to them. So these are just some examples of AI being applied in this sort of use cases. I'll skip this part, but basically it's just saying that we also have experience working in companies and governments, etc. So I'm going to finish up here the last few minutes with more case studies. It's a little bit text heavy, but you can, I'm sure the slides will be sent to you. You can read the details of the slides, but essentially, as I mentioned, a lot of countries would develop skills frameworks. So what are skills frameworks? Skills frameworks are kind of a guidance of what skills are needed in certain industries that are developed by governments. And that kind of forms a roadmap for curriculum development as well as for employers who are hiring people. So again, these skills frameworks, you can refer to Singapore. It's free. It's available online. You can look at it. You can refer to US, UK skills frameworks, for example. You may want to build your own skills framework as a country, and that will take some time, but you can use the big data that is able to be gathered to make some of these choices. So these are just examples of skills frameworks from Singapore, for example. So for the career pathways for retail or for engineering, all of this mapped out, what sort of skills are needed inside. So for curriculum adaptation, you can also use AI inside here to be able to do course mapping, to understand what skills are needed for which course, and then to do skills gap analysis for students, and then to push relevant course recommendations. And this can be done very easily using an online platform as well as using AI systems as well. You can even support teacher training. So as I mentioned, you may have new technologies that need to be taught, and you need to upskill your teachers to be able to teach that, or bring in educators from other countries to train the trainer, to be able to train your teachers to train your students in certain new technologies. Yeah, we have some experience with that as well. We can show some case studies of that in more detail next time. Yeah, and you can also do skills and career development guidance, as I mentioned. So these are just case studies. You can read it yourself about how this is accomplished. Okay, so I'm going to skip through the rest because I think you can read it yourself. Okay, so I just finished up my presentation because I reached 30 minutes already. So in summary, so I would say that the future of skills is ever changing. You've noticed in the early parts of the presentation that the skills are always changing. It's very hard for the educators to keep up and catch up with traditional methods. You may need to really think about using advanced technology like AI and big data to predict and understand the skills changes. But beyond that, also provide a system that's able to instantly take this information and push this down to the people on the ground, which is the workers and the students. Because if you have another layer of someone to analyze the data and make the changes manually, it's a bit too slow as well. So you may need to have something that's dynamic and fast and able to do the reference and make recommendations faster. Second, you may need to find more advanced ways to do learning interventions So for example, you may need to look at things like modular courses, like short courses, digital courses, just-in-time training, a training linked to on-the-job training as well. And again, it's because that the workforce needs for training is moving beyond just undergraduates and preparing them for the workforce. You may need to start preparing your current workers for the ever-changing needs of the workplace as well. So those people who have already graduated, your alumni, how do you help them to make sure they have the skills needed for the future, right? So you have to design new learning intervention methods. And finally, technology is unavoidable, right? Technology is a part of all of our lives. Advanced technology like AI and big data is being used in this jobs and skills space already. So we have to be able to embrace that. And the second thing is also to work with HR, work with the recruiters, work with the employers to be able to match better and meet their requirements better to make sure that the students have the skills the industry needs. So that's the quick summary of the presentation. I hope that I managed to show some examples and inspire you in new methods of job matching and career and skills matching for the future. So I will be able to take some questions now. Let me stop screen sharing.
Okay. Well.
Okay, sorry. Okay, great.
Yes, thank you, Gary, for the interesting presentation. So before we continue to the Q&A session, allow me to highlight the presentation first, Gary.
Yes.
So attendees, from Gary's presentation, we can gain some valuable lessons learned from Gary's experiences. First, Gary just shared his great experiences in the use of big data and artificial intelligence to help individuals and organizations stay relevant and future ready for the rapid changes in today's economy. And then we just learn also from countries where job matching and career guidance artificial intelligence powers national jobs and skills portal for citizens like Singapore. And then Gary also shared his experiences on the approach to skills demand and forecasting done in other countries, where has worked with ADB, World Bank, UNESCO on projects, including Bangladesh, Malawi, Myanmar, and Sri Lanka, and related to labor market information through skill demand research. And at last, it is very possible that governments, universities, and students can use global labor market data to identify future-ready skills and create development roadmaps to guide their citizens' personal development. That's very interesting and challenging to be applied in developing countries such as Indonesia, Gary. Okay, thank you. Gary and attendees, now we come to the question and answer session. I invite you all to raise your questions and comments. Let us use this opportunity to explore and deepen our understanding more about the use of AI and its advantages in helping our young generation to be ready in the future work. Okay, we'll see the question. Okay, the first question. From Dicky, there are two questions. The first is, how does any professor take advantage of job? I cannot read. Sorry. Okay. How does any professor take advantage of JobKred to develop curriculum that match the need of industries? And then is it possible that with increasing number of people doing job skill analysis and deciding a need to find courses that will enrich their skill, it is more important for universities to provide more non-degree short courses on certain skills, besides to provide regular degree courses? Okay, please, Gary.
Yep. So the first question is a great question. I think that's where we're working with ICE as well as ADB and the Indonesian government to really do some research. We're already starting this research for Indonesia. We're working with ADB on this project to understand the skills demand in Indonesia. So I don't have a timeline. Give us some time to do that research. But once we have that research out, I'm sure it will be shared to the different professors and universities for you to start thinking about whether you want to change your curriculum based on the research results of what skills are needed. So for the second question, it is an absolute yes. This is one of the best questions, right? It is very, very true, because you started to realize maybe a long regular degree course may not be as agile as what the industry needs. maybe within that degree course, you can have maybe 1/3 of them as elective modules, where the student can pick up micro courses or shorter courses that are based on the industry demand. So for example, you can have a 4-year regular degree for software engineering, but maybe 1/3 of that is modular courses where the latest skills are changing every year, right? And that still gives you the structure of a regular degree, but still has sort of agility to put in this sort of market industry courses. But you need something that's fast and agile. So this is definitely something that needs to be done.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Okay, there are two more. To what extent current courses offered by universities match with the labor or job demand? Your experiences within ASEAN, what the major job demand that need to be addressed by education institutions? To what extent current courses offered by university match with the labor or job demand? And the second one, in your experience within ASEAN, what is the major job demand that need to be addressed by the education institution?
So very good question. I'm very impressed with all the questions today. So the first question, we are actually doing an exact project on this with World Bank in Africa to understand the skills being taught by universities in 7 countries in Africa and whether that matches with the labor market demand. So I don't have an answer for you yet. We're still doing that project and we can see that it is actually pretty good. So we are focusing on IT. So in the African universities, we can see that they are teaching very technical skills that are needed by the industry. And that is great, that is perfect. But what we start to see that is the mismatch is that, at least in Africa, and this is very different from the data I see in Southeast Asia. In Africa, a lot of the employers are looking for soft skills. Right. As I mentioned, it could be because in Africa they want to spend more time to train the engineers or get them to learn new skills for whatever reason. But we start to see a lot of employers in Africa looking for soft skills, and that is not being taught by the university as much. So the latest recommendation that we were making to the universities is that you guys may need to focus a little bit more on teaching soft skills like project management, like technical writing, to be able to write technical research papers, for example. So these were interesting information that within, I think, 6 months project, we can pass this information to the universities via this World Bank grant. So there's a great example of how you can do this sort of research to understand whether your university is teaching the industry skills that the industry needs. So in the second point, in my experience, this changes from country to country. So for example, in Philippines, one of the biggest challenges is the big sectors that they have. So there are some big sectors that are called BPO, right? Business process outsourcing or call centers that are definitely going to be impacted by AI. There are AI systems that can make fake voices, right? Virtual voices. So these people are going to be possibly out of job. So in that country, maybe their focus would be to find a way to transition people from call center industry towards other industries. But in general, I would say for ASEAN, IT is definitely 100% something that every country needs. Whether you're from Indonesia, whether you're from smaller countries like Bhutan, everybody is trying to create a knowledge-based economy. So I would say that the major job demand is definitely in IT jobs and skills. And I can share that because of COVID. Because of COVID, a lot of companies, not just in Singapore, but in more developed regions like Japan, Korea, or even USA, they are very open to remote workers already. So there's an increasing trend of companies that are looking for skilled IT workers in countries like Indonesia. Right? So they are all remote IT workers. And that could be an opportunity for universities in Indonesia to develop more and more IT courses that supports this remote working demand from the countries in developed countries, employers in developed countries. So I would say IT definitely is one of the major job demand that you still need.
Okay. Thank you. Very clear, Gary, the importance of IT. Yeah. Okay. Next questions from Sri Vijayanti. Is the system valid and ready to be implemented for every company, and is there a risk from that technology? Okay.
The system that we are, at least our company is doing, it's already valid. We actually already have Indonesian users. We're working with a company, oil and gas company that has Indonesian staff. So it is ready and valid. And the whole point of using a software like ours is because it is off the shelf. It is already created. So you don't need to create something from scratch. Creating something from scratch will take you millions and millions of dollars and years of time. So you're taking something that's already ready. It may not be 100% perfect, to be fair, because it's not customized to your full requirements. But you'll probably hit 80% of what you need, and it's ready to be done and implemented tomorrow. So that's the value of using such a system. The risk from the technology, yes, there are some risks. So I'll be very frank to say that the data that is being gathered, the AI that's being gathered, it is as good as the source of the data. So for example, when you work with a certain data sources that come from country that are urban centers, for example, then the recommendation may be for urban sort of careers, right? You're not really catering to the careers and jobs that are from the provinces, from the less developed areas. So there is a little bit of this risk, but I think this risk is less important than being able to provide fast and effective guidance, jobs and skills data for the big demand of IT and everything. So I think always there's some risk, but the benefits will outweigh the risk in a lot of cases.
Okay, thank you. Next, hopefully that's answered. Okay, now Muhammad Toha. Just wondering, is there any sources to keep us updating on the fast-changing document information?
So as I mentioned, the traditional method still works. So there's definitely no problem if your university wants to create a industry feedback committee to get the industry to sit with you and meet your lecturers, meet your deans, for example, and come up with better curriculum. So you can still do industry feedback. You can still do surveys. Most of these surveys tend to be done by government, by ADB and World Bank, and they pass this information to you. You can still do those traditional methods, and of course we are also doing work with ADB to come up with this sort of reports using big data. So these are some sources that you can use to keep updated. But if you want to do it yourself, as I mentioned, the traditional methods are probably easier for your university to do. But anything using big data, etc., you may need to probably work with someone like us, because it's not something that can be developed overnight. You need to have that system that knows the taxonomy of all the different jobs and skills out there. But you can talk to us about it.
Okay, thank you. Well, Gary and attendees, actually we still have many things to discuss, but we must end the session due to the limited time. Before I close the session, let me highlight our discussion today. That first, in terms of working together with AI, means that AI is not here to replace us human beings, but AI enhances our capabilities and makes us better at what we do. And there are 4 important things we can do to upgrade the skills of our young generation in order to match the skill demand. They are like curriculum adaptation, and then teacher training that you mentioned, and then career development guidance, and also partnerships. So it is important for us to consider school curriculum adaptation and explore local labor market skill and jobs requirements to decide changes to school curriculum. Besides, changes in educational resource or courses are needed as well to ensure that skill supply matches skill demand. In terms of career development guidance, here from Gary's presentation, JobKred has proved that AI-powered digital career development platform really helps students and working professionals to discover their paths to professional development and career success. So everyone can learn from Gary on how to manage and make this digital career development platform really effective in mapping skill demand as well as finding the best fulfillment. So here, partnership among governments, universities, like civil services or individual sector, industrial sectors have taken a very important role. Okay, we come to the end of the session. I invite all the Zoom attendees to turn on your video. We should take some photos for documentation. Okay, please stay for a while. And don't forget your smile, please. Okay, the committee will take the photos first. 1. Keep smile. Okay, enough? Then? Okay, thank you everyone. Yes, so now we come to the last part of the session. That is the closing session. Once again, big thanks to Gary for sharing your knowledge and experiences in this webinar. I believe that what you shared with us is knowledge investment for us to take appropriate actions for the future. And I wish you healthy and the greatest success in your career. And to Prof. Ojat Darojat, we thank you for always supporting us as well. Many thanks to Prof. Daryono and the great team of ICE Institute and all the organizing committee members for our good teamwork. And to all attendees, I really appreciate your active participation in this webinar. Since this webinar is facilitated with a video streaming, you can still watch the video recorded at uttv.ut.ac.id. Please note that after this closing session, the link to your feedback is available until 3 p.m. And your feedback is much appreciated for our beta program in the future. Well, let me end this session by quoting Helen Keller quotes. Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best and see you again next webinar. Bye.
The fast-growing demands of digital era motivates us to continue improving the potential of integrated human resources that are capable to support productivity. This vast and rapid development needs an effective and modern learning solution that can keep up with the routines of today's society. A facility that can cope with the limitations of space and time. For many people, both limitations pose as major problems in developing themselves and enhancing their career in digital era. In the end, those problems will impact their lifestyle. Universitas Terbuka is here to answer those problems by applying an open and distance learning system. A system that has proven effective in increasing the coverage and equal distribution of excellent higher education for all elements of society. Our learning system. Our system allows students to have a flexible and open learning method, and it offers many advantages. First one is the registration period, which is open throughout the year, so no more worry about late registration. Flexible space, time, and place. This is useful for students who still want to develop their knowledge wherever and whenever they want. Easily access printed and digital teaching materials in all corners of Indonesia and other countries. Our system gives opportunity to people from all groups and ages to learn and develop their knowledge, as well as their skills in all fields. With 39 regional offices all across Indonesia and overseas service centers, we are always ready to support operational activities and cooperations with various national and international institutions. We have numerous facilities to support student activities and learning process, from UT Radio, UT TV, learning assistance to online library. Universitas Terbuka offers you 4 credible faculties: Faculty of Education and Teacher Training, Faculty of Law, Social and Political Sciences, Faculty of Economics, and Faculty of Science and Technology. With more than 35 study programs and postgraduate programs. Universitas Terbuka, making higher education open to all.